There's a place where I've been told every street is paved with gold, and it's just across the borderline. And when it's time to take your turn, there's one lesson that you must learn. You could lose more than you'll ever find. On June 23rd, 2019, a man and his 23-month-old daughter laid face down in the waters of the Rio Grande, just inches from U.S. soil. You saw those pictures, didn't you? They traveled the internet at record speed as another grim reminder of the challenges migrants must face in order to cross the border illegally. But even crossing the border is not a free pass to happiness. Meanwhile, the poets have been watching and writing. Poetry can help us see, feel, and hear things that are otherwise overlooked and can provide a catalyst for honest discussion. That is my hope today as I present Across the Borderline, a poetry program featuring At the Wall by Paulo Gonzalez and Carla Gutierrez, These Children Kept in Cages by Paul Muldoon, This is Borders by Denise Froman, and Across the Borderline by Ry Cooder. The legend of the walk begins for those who arrived wearing silver skin, who enslaved the Aboriginals, and those brought on cargo ships who created a system where the deeper the melanin, the deeper the slashes and grains painted the minds of their kin. Whitebacks burdened with the mounds of gold at the expense of El Indigena, El Africano, and Basque borders, created at the Treaty of Hidalgo, constructed a wall to separate us from them on the television screens everywhere. United States 2016, he says, a nation without a wall is not a nation, as he ambitions to spread across 55 feet of cold concrete, smooth and infused with red, white, and blue, because spending $14.4 billion on border enforcement is not enough. Thermal sensors that detect the heat coming off of panting figures is not enough. Hollow point bullets that expand at the impact of human flesh is not enough. Operation Gatekeeper San Diego, Operation Safeguard, Two-Star, Operation Hold the Line El Paso are not enough. A woman holds up a sign that reads, illegals get everything and we get nothing, working from sunrise to sundown for less than $2 an hour, getting everything, walking 10 to 20 miles, hundreds of miles to cross the border, getting everything, standing in the corners of MacArthur Park, selling mangoes and getting everything. A man yells, it is not fair that the illegals stay here, he says, as millions rip out their Spanish tongues and close the veins that flow back to their people. These children, kept in cages, like so many geese, have now made us the villains of the peace that runs without an intermission. Wonders will never cease, and yet the policy under which we've all but chained these children must be axed. The glory that was Greece has faded. The rats who argued for their swamp being drained have now made us the villains of the peace and inoculated us against the Mathers, Cotton, and increased against a homespun sense of humanity that has nonetheless reigned. These children, kept in cages, like so many geese, and like geese, wishing merely to take comfort in a downy fleece, and find themselves not countered, but counterpained, have now made us the villains of the peace, as if our camps were organized by the North Vietnamese. We have undermined such moral high ground as we had once gained. These children, kept in cages, are at the very least a disturbance of our peace. But they're living better than ever. Our leaders maintained these children, kept in cages, like so many geese, have now made us the villains of the pigs. For Ana Maria, it begins before the border. She walks with her two uncles in the desert for 1 week with nothing more than a few gallons of water and a prayer tucked into their pockets, hoping both would last them long enough. The sun is an unforgiving God. But any God is worth having right now. The wind pushing at their backs, the grunt of bullets from drug cartels, and the desperation for a job to employ their stomachs have both been uninvited guests at their doorstep. And so they step. Ana Maria's small hand clutches the bottom of her abuela's dress as her mother waits for her on the other side, hoping that her face still rings of home like it used to. Another step. She is too young to know what border means. She thinks strangers are just family members who haven't met yet. Ana Maria is now 10 years old. She's learned enough English to translate for her parents, but says that her thick accent is still a problem she tries to fix by leaving in her locker. When the teacher calls on her to read, she tries to speak proper, like proper has a sound. She pushes her tongue down so that she doesn't roll her R's, but she trips on the flatness of the syllables that bounce with too much salsa. She tries to rattle out the kinks in her speech, but her tongue is a stubborn dancer. The two boys that sit behind her in class don't know how to do long division, but they know what a wetback is. And that Ana Maria has braids, and that Ana Maria's hair is thicker than their sister's, and they don't know how they know, but they know how to treat difference when they smell it, so they say things like, "Yo, go back to your country." As if their Irish ancestors never walked through Ellis Island. Ana Maria is now 16. Her father works 18-hour days as a dishwasher, and her mother cleans houses they'll never get to live in so that Ana Maria can sit in a college classroom and say, "I am here." But her guidance counselor tells her she can't get the in-state tuition rate because of her status. She says it like an apology. Ana wonders if her family ever crossed the border, or if they are just stuck inside of another one, aggravating it like a soul. Her guidance counselor stands in front of her with a mouth full of fences. "There are some borders you can't cross by foot, but borders," I tell her, "that can only be crossed by stubborn backbone. So when they ask you for your papers, Ana, show them your skin, wear your tongue like a cape, throw your fist in the air like a secret you can't keep any longer. They cannot keep you any longer, afraid that you can't afford to draw a dream. So when they come for you, tell them in the language that you know best that you are not